Jay Leno's garage is way more than just a regular garage. It's like a huge church for people who love cars. It's a museum full of amazing machines that show what humans can dream up and build. He has over 180 super rare, famous, and really weird cars. Plus, he's got more than 160 motorcycles. All these machines are worth millions of dollars, and they're kept inside a really big, super modern building in Burbank, California. Because of his really popular YouTube show called Jay Leno's Garage, fans from everywhere in the world get to take tours of it, room by room, one video at a time. He's got steam power cars, fancy Duesenbergs, electric car conversions, and a 1934 Rolls-Royce. Yep, it's got a P2 frame. We made and hammered the body by hand right here. And it's all Rolls-Royce. He's shown concept cars from the 1940s all the way to today. Jay's videos have shown pretty much everything. Or at least, that's what we all thought. For more than 10 years, people watching believed they could see every single part of one of the most legendary private car collections on the planet. Jay's friendly personality, his knowledge, and his amazing memory made each video feel really personal, close, and honest. But even with hundreds of hours of videos and talks with people, some questions are still out there. That's because not every door gets opened, not every corner is bright with lights, and not every car makes it onto the camera. In some rare talks, Jay has dropped hints about back rooms and cars that don't even run anymore. He's made jokes about cars that were too strange or just not good enough to film. But people who work there and guests who visited know something else is happening. Something that's never been fully shown or explained. Hidden behind a plain door with no label at the far end of the garage is a section that fans have only heard about in quiet whispers. It's a dark, rough space that doesn't show up in any episodes. There are no fancy LED lights, no smooth camera movements, no exciting engine sounds. When cars start up, it's not meant for regular people to see. It's not for reporters or the media. It's where Jay Leno keeps the cars he never shows to anyone. Not because he's trying to hide them exactly, but because their stories are really complicated and hard to explain. This is the part of Jay Leno's garage you were never supposed to see. And once you learn what's actually in there, you'll understand exactly why he keeps it secret. Ask any serious car collector, and they'll tell you the same thing. The most interesting parts of any garage are the ones that aren't on display for everyone. In Jay Leno's case, that rule is totally true in ways that most fans have never even imagined. Behind all the bright lights, shiny clean floors, and YouTube-ready displays is a corner of the garage that almost nobody ever talks about. Not because people aren't allowed to go there, but because it's left out on purpose. Even guests who've taken tours of Jay's place almost never get to see it. The ones who do see it, they don't talk about what they saw in public. This section is sometimes called the vault or the lower bay by people who work there. It's not part of the official tour that people take. There's no sign on it, no fancy nameplates, no camera people filming. You get to it through a boring-looking industrial door. It's plain metal with no labels, just concrete walls and total silence. What's inside isn't pretty or fancy. It's rough, dusty, and not very bright. And unlike the rest of Jay's perfect clean museum, it feels more like a storage room full of old things, like a time capsule of forgotten bets and crazy experiments that people tried. Jay has only mentioned it a couple times, and only quickly. In one interview, he joked and said, "There are some cars I've got that I'm still trying to figure out why I've got them." In another talk, he laughed about how some cars don't start anymore and others. Well, I probably shouldn't talk about those. But these quick little comments barely scratch the surface of what's really going on. Because according to people who used to work on his crew and close friends of the Leno team, this hidden room does something really special. It's where Jay keeps the cars that don't belong on display for everyone to see. Not because they aren't important or cool, but because they actually are really important. They're prototype cars, concept cars, failures, and experiments. Each one has a story, and it's not always a happy or simple story. Some of them were secrets that car companies kept. Others were given to Jay by car makers who were really desperate. A few of them were personal projects that Jay started, but they never went anywhere or got finished. This isn't the fancy showroom. It's the rough, hidden part underneath. And for Jay, it's just as special and important as everything else. The exact stuff that's inside Jay Leno's secret garage room is only known by a few people. And even those people are really careful when someone asks them about it. But over the years, little bits and pieces of information have leaked out. There have been whispers and quick glimpses in the background of certain episodes of his show. And from those little fragments of clues, a really exciting picture has started to form. It's a collection not of super fancy sports cars or perfect show cars, but of what-ifs. Cars that almost happened but didn't. Among the rumored stuff in there, there's supposedly a mid-engine Corvette prototype from the early 1990s. It's a one-of-a-kind test car that people say was given to Jay by a retired boss from General Motors. It was never meant to be made and sold to people, and it's basically disappeared from any public records. There's a student-built Chrysler turbine shell that was used in the early 2000s by a design school that worked with Mopar. People say it's not much more than a fiberglass body with experimental turbine parts and a note taped to the dashboard that says, "Do not start." There's supposedly an off-the-books Lamborghini prototype that was built in secret during the early 2000s. Sources claim it failed crash testing so badly that it was never shown to anyone. And it was quietly thrown away or given away as a gift. There's supposedly a first-generation Tesla test car that has early battery technology that was never used in production and a salvaged Lotus body. People say it was a personal favor from Elon Musk, who asked that it never be shown online because of intellectual property issues and secrets. And that's just scratching the surface of what might be in there. Other cars are said to include hydrogen fuel cell experiments, failed rotary engine tests, and a bunch of electric cars that came out almost 10 years before Tesla's Roadster. Why haven't we seen any of them? Because these aren't museum pieces that look perfect. They're ghosts. They're pieces of car history that were never supposed to exist in the first place, let alone survive until now. Jay doesn't show them, not because of secrecy exactly, but because of respect. Respect for the engineers who tried really hard for the ideas that almost worked out, for the machines that history just forgot about, and for some of them, because they might still be covered by legal agreements called NDAs that say he can't talk about them. Jay Leno is a man who loves stories. Every episode of Jay Leno's Garage isn't just about the cars themselves. It's about the people who made them, their legacy, the design, the engineering, and the whole journey of how a machine comes to life and gets built. And for a story to work well, Jay believes the car has to have a good story behind it. In his own words, "I don't just show off cars, I tell stories." And not every car has a story worth telling to people. That's the real reason why this secret room stays unfilmed and hidden. The cars in there aren't finished or complete. They're not polished up and shiny. Some of them don't even run or turn on anymore. Other ones do run, but they were abandoned by the companies that made them in the first place. A few are so early in their prototype development stage that they don't even have proper VIN numbers. They're ghosts of ideas. These are cars that were born in meeting rooms and design studios, but never made it past the drawing and sketch phase. For Jay, this space is less about showing off a perfect collection and more about saving things and preserving them. It's his way of honoring the attempt and the effort, even when the result didn't make big headlines or become famous. Some of these cars were sent to him with a note attached. Others showed up without any fanfare or attention, quietly taken off trucks late at night when nobody was watching. Some of them exist in legal gray areas where it's not clear if they're even legal. Others were too dangerous to actually drive on roads. A few were just too weird and strange to explain to people. But to Jay, they all matter and are important. Because behind every failed concept car is an engineer who dreamed of changing the world and making it better. Behind every unfinished prototype is a whole team of people that gave everything they had, even if the world never noticed or cared. That's exactly why this room stays dark and hidden. Not because it isn't worthy or good enough, but because it was never meant to be seen by everyone. And in that silence and darkness, Jay Leno has found something way more meaningful than getting a lot of views on YouTube. He's found the soul of the machine, the real heart of what makes cars special. Jay Leno has never been happy with just collecting beautiful, pretty cars. He's always been drawn to the strange ones, the ones that people didn't understand, the machines that dared to think differently and try new things. And nowhere is that more clear than in his secret room. While his public garage that everyone sees holds perfect condition Bugattis and legendary muscle cars, the private section holds a totally different kind of treasure. It holds failed experiments and forgotten technologies that were once on the cutting edge of new car innovation and ideas. Take, for example, a gas turbine-powered sedan prototype from the 1960s. It was a Chrysler project that tried to replace the internal combustion engine completely. Only a few were ever built and made. Most of them were destroyed and thrown away. But rumor has it that Jay rescued one of the engineering shells from a private estate sale, and he keeps it tucked away in his secret room. It's never been fully restored or fixed up, just preserved and kept safe. Then there's talk of a rotary engine prototype that's unlike anything Mazda ever released or made. It was designed in partnership with an engineering firm that doesn't exist anymore. The engine was reportedly installed in a makeshift test frame and then abandoned after the company went out of business. Jay didn't show it in his Rotary Collection episode on YouTube, but sources say it's real and it lives in the back room. And it goes even deeper than that. There are 3D printed subframes, partial hydrogen fuel cell builds, and even early-stage aerodynamic test beds. These are cars with no headlights, unfinished interiors, and bizarre weird shapes that were used only for wind tunnel trials and range tests to see how far they could go. Why does Jay keep all of them? Because they represent the leap, that special moment in history where someone tried to do something impossible. They're not glamorous or beautiful. They're not good for taking pictures of, but to a gearhead and car lover like Leno, they're absolutely priceless and invaluable. In that secret room, it's not about being perfect. It's about what was possible and what people dreamed of trying. Some of the cars in Jay Leno's secret room aren't just forgotten by people. They're actually off limits for legal reasons. And that's where things get really complicated and tricky. While many of the hidden builds are simply weird or broken, others are legally sensitive and touchy. Some are concept cars that were never meant to be sold or even driven outside of the original car manufacturer's building and facility. Others were gifts or loaners that came with strings attached and special rules. Like the supposed Tesla test car built during the company's early development years. According to whispers and rumors, the car uses experimental battery technology and internal wiring. Designs that were never patented or legally protected. Elon Musk himself reportedly asked Jay not to document it or showcase the car anywhere. And Jay, respecting that request, locked it away and kept it hidden. Then there's a European concept car built for a Geneva Motor Show that got canceled at the last minute before it could be shown. The car was incomplete, way over budget, and eventually sold to Leno in a quiet, no-press transaction that nobody knew about. Its materials, which included advanced composites and active aero technology, were way ahead of their time. But showcasing it now could bring back legal problems and entanglements with the original investors who put money into it. Even more sensitive and tricky are the prototype safety vehicles. These are cars that failed federal crash tests or were never tested at all to see if they were safe. These can't legally be titled or driven on United States roads, and Jay keeps them off camera to avoid creating regulatory scrutiny and problems with the government. But there's an even deeper reason too that matters to Jay. Jay has said it best himself. Some cars are private for a reason. They're not mine to explain to other people. Behind every hidden car is a story that's not always a story to tell. There are NDAs, which are legal agreements, verbal agreements made with a handshake, and personal relationships with people. All of these things shape and decide what makes it to the screen on YouTube and what stays in the dark and hidden. It's not censorship or hiding things for bad reasons. It's about respect for other people. Because sometimes the most interesting machines are also the most misunderstood by everyone else. Jay Leno didn't set out at the beginning to become the guardian and protector of automotive orphans. But over time, that's exactly what ended up happening. When a car company closes its doors and goes out of business, or a project gets canceled and shut down, The vehicles often just disappear into thin air. They're scrapped, lost, or forgotten about completely. But occasionally, every once in a while, they land in Jay's hands and possession. Not because he wants to show them off and flex, but because he knows deep down that they deserve to be saved and protected. And that's where the real emotional weight of the secret room really sets in and hits you. Some of these cars came to him from grieving families, from builders or designers who passed away and died before finishing their work and dreams. Jay accepted the projects knowing full well they would never be complete or finished, simply to honor the legacy behind them and respect what they tried to do. Others came as final attempts by dying companies and engineers. They were Hail Mary passes sent to Jay not as a gift exactly, but as a memorial to remember them by. Please keep this safe, one letter reportedly read. It's all that's left of our dream and what we tried to build. Then there are the projects Jay took on personally himself. These were wild ideas that even his own team didn't understand or get at first. There were early experiments in electric car conversions, compressed air engines, or hybrid manual automatic gearboxes that combined two types of transmissions. Some of them worked pretty well, but most of them didn't work at all. But Jay never threw them away or got rid of them, because to him, being a collector isn't about having polish and perfection. It's about preservation and saving things. It's about recognizing and understanding that value doesn't always come from success and winning. In this room, every single dent tells a story about what happened. Every failed project whispers something that no finished car ever could say or express. And for Leno, who spent his entire life chasing not just performance and speed, but meaning and purpose, this is the part of the garage that matters most to him and means the most. For a man known for his encyclopedic memory that remembers everything and his open-door approach to car culture, Jay Leno is surprisingly really good at keeping secrets from people. But he's also pretty bad at hiding his excitement about things. And over the years, fans with sharp eyes have noticed something odd and strange. There have been little slips, fleeting glimpses, and accidental reveals that happen by mistake. In one video from nearly 10 years ago, the camera pans just a little bit too wide, revealing a wedge-shaped silhouette hidden under a tarp and cover. It didn't match anything from Jay's known collection that people had seen before.